only 3% of the population have access to internet, and that is very limited. Even
So you got to teach yourself pretty much all the programming that you
all the
that you
programming,
learned.
all the programming. And at that time, actually, I don't have the resources. I don't have a laptop. And then I asked the library to give me the chance to use their computer.
Hey, what is up, Dev Crew? Today I am with Salahadin Mahmud. He's a back-end developer that I met recently at a meetup here in Dallas, Texas. And he has 8 years of experience using Java. And he has amazing background from coming from a country with a dictator and getting out of that and being able to be a very productive and very uh, good developer today and rising above his situation. So thank you so much for coming on, Salahadin.
Thank you, Taylor, for inviting me to this one.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you about your story and your background. So I think where I want to start with this is, can you tell us a little bit about Eritrea? Now, so I hope I said that correct. Is it Eritrea? I've asked you so many
Eritrea.
times.
Eritrea.
Eritrea. Okay, Eritrea. So Eritrea is a country next to Ethiopia, correct?
Yeah, north of Ethiopia and southeast of Sudan.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about the history about how Eritrea became a country? And we were just going over this before. Can you tell us about the last 100 years? Just give us a brief breakdown.
Yeah, actually, the country have a very long history, starting with it's a country actually starting from the Greeks. We can say during the Greeks there was trade route to Eritrea by the and we had the port named Adulis, and it was a very long history. And the name actually Eritrea appears first by a Greek writer, the Periplus of Eritrean Sea. There is a book written by that. So the name Eritrea appears from that, Eritrea. But later on, actually, in 16th century, starting from 1550s until the 19th, 18th, 19th century, actually, until 1870s, we were colonized by the Ottoman Empire, and then later on, part of the Egyptian Empire, actually. And actually, later, Europeans came to our land in 1890. So from 1890 until 1941, we were under the Italian colony. And in 1941, actually, Italians defeated by British during the Second World War, which was held in our country, until 1945, until the war was over. And after that, actually, British tries to, like, there was a lot of politics on that. So in 1952, actually, the British and the United States in general actually decided to put Eritrea under federation with Ethiopia, which is the next country, which is actually basically a colonization for us. It wasn't our choice; it was the choice of the other external bodies. So the Eritrean people wasn't happy of this. So in 1961, the Eritrean people decided to fight against this one, and they started a war against that. So and that war actually lasted for 30 years until 1991. And in 1991, actually, we got our independence. And in 1993, we became part of the United Nations, which is a new country that had a very good hope. Like some people even there was a journalist, African journalist, he said the future is Eritrea. Like he said, I see the future of Africa in Eritrea. But unfortunately, we ended up under dictatorship. And it starts all with this one.
Oh wow! So that's you give us so much information. It seems like you know the history of Eritrea very well. But can you tell us a little bit about like how much money, like is it a very poor country?
Actually, Eritrea, like it is one of the poorest countries in the world. We can say
Right.
we don't have anything. Even like the internet connection is like only 3% of the population have access to internet, and that is very limited. Even and the resources to everything is very like almost no. If you ask something the reply that we'll get is no, that we don't have that resource. Almost in everything. And like before independence, actually, it was during colonization period. And I will mention this one. People don't have access to education. Many people, actually, including my parents, actually. My father and my mother, they didn't go to school at all. They didn't go to school at all. And the reason is my father couldn't get access to, like, it was only one lifetime chance. And it is you have to draw. And then if he got the chance, he can go to school. If he can't, that's it. It's once and for all. If you got it, you will go to school. If you don't, you ended up there. And my father didn't get the chance. And my mother, actually, she didn't have even that chance at all. So my parents were not from, they are not educated. They even can't read and write. My father
Wow.
actually struggled. My father struggled his best. And by now he can read the newsletter and he can write a little bit. And that's all out of his personal endeavors.
Right. So the reason I brought this up is because you come from a very a country where it's very hard to get ahead. It's hard to excel and rise above. Right. Because poverty. I imagine being around in a lot of poverty is very hard. Is there a lot of There's a lot of sickness and stuff as well, or
Definitely there is, but it's not like people is dying of hunger or dying of sickness, and like the lifestyle is poor and you don't have anything. Like people manage to live in that situation, but uh, compared to the resources that you should get, there is nothing.
okay? So you're not. It's not like you're not starving. You're not starving from lack
Not
of food.
starvation, hunger.
That's good to hear because that sounds horrible. Um, so you have all these very this is a very interesting story. So you had your country was very poor, and part of that I'm guessing is because of you kind of brought this up because you've had dictatorships, and the little I don't want to get super political, but the little I understand is dictatorships make it very hard for people to rise above because of various different reasons. But um, you actually, so we were actually, I was trying to get a hold of you last weekend. So you actually went to Washington D.C. Recently. Can you tell us a little bit about that trip?
Yeah, this trip was basically like fighting against dictatorship at all. People in Eritrea is fighting against dictatorship, and this basically the people all over the world, Eritrean people, is there, and they are fighting against this dictatorship. So I went there just to put my like to put my hand in this. Like people is fighting against this one, so I have to contribute something into this. Like fighting against dictatorship is fighting against evil stuff. Like people
Right.
live in like with democracy, and people should live as they were supposed to live. Basically, people should be free. But if there is dictatorship, then everyone must contribute, and it is a duty of all of us. So on this one, actually, I have to put my efforts to help out the people fighting against this dictatorship. And this meeting was about that.
That's awesome. So, is there maybe I can get the link afterwards. Is there a site or something that we can give to people to help find out if they want to be involved in helping your country? Is there any way that they can do that?
Actually, they can reach us or reach me, and then they can contribute. Definitely, they can help us
There's different ways to contribute.
about
Awesome.
this. Yeah, they can help us even on how to deal with this stuff. Basically, like we need help, we need support, we need everything. That's certain. Especially people from political background and people like if they staff us with with good things, then it's a good help. Rather than we trying to figure out if there are people who could help us on this one, then they are welcome.
That's awesome. So yeah, so we'll give some more information at the end on how they can contact you as well.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your how did you get into programming and start getting interested in that?
Well, everything starts when I was in high school, actually. It was when I was 11th grade, which is 1 year before the last of the secondary school. And like that was my first time into computer itself, let alone programming. That was the first time that I interacted with computer. And then like it was like for me, it was something great. How is this mission working? just it's a piece of metal. Then how is it working? And that fascination puts me to understand it much into that. How is the stuff working? How is the programming working? How I'm seeing this? How is the song played with this? And then this creates something on my head. And then as I tried to figure out how it is, and I found out that it's programming that is a mystery. And then by the end of that year, actually, I started like to learn Visual Basic. At that time, it was VB 6.0, and then it was in 2004. And then but before Indian high school, actually, I know a little bit of programming with the VB6. And then after that, actually, it was a duty of every citizen in the country to go to military training. And it was at the age of 16 that I joined the military training. They call it national service, actually. I joined it there, and I took the military training for 3 months. And then we have to stay there for a year, actually. It was dictatorship. You don't have to say, you cannot say anything. You have to obey it only. And then I took the 12th grade, which is the last year of the last year of secondary school there. And then we have to take the university entrance exam there in the military camp. It was the life, you can imagine preparing for university entrance in military camp. That was very horrible, actually, but we have to deal with it, because if you miss that chance, and that's the end of you, there is no second chance.
So you only have one chance to get into university.
That's it. After that, actually, it will be in the hand of the government. If they will, then they can allow you to join to took the exam once again. But it's under their mercy generally. It's not your option. So knowing this one, actually, I have to do my best. Actually, I was one of the good students, very good students. Actually, I scored 3.6 out of 4, which is the best. And then with that, actually, I could join the engineering college of engineering, actually. And in college of engineering, actually, in second year, it was a revelation, actually. One thing I forgot, actually, on this one, when I was starting to do VB6, there was a teacher who was teaching me programming, like a little bit, telling me programming this or that. Then one day he asked me, like seeing me performing good, then he asked me about my grades. Then I told him physics 98 out of 100, biology 99 out of 100. And then he asked me about mathematics, and I told him 80 out of 100. Then he was shocked. How do you score mathematics 80 and physics 98? How is that balanced? Then he told me, you are lazy. And this was an inspiration for me. Wow, I'm lazy. I have to do something with this. However, definitely I should be lazy. Because that is very fair question, and that's very fair deal. Then I tried to figure out that, and then actually I resolved that. This was in one of the like inspiration in my life. If people told you like you are lazy, then sorry, at some point it might mean like, wow, he's insulting me. But if you see it like, then if you like looking into myself, how I'm scoring physics 98 and mathematics 80, then it's my laziness, definitely. I was like good in physics because I like physics, and I was not good in mathematics because I didn't study mathematics. It's not because I wasn't good. But later on, when I joined the university, actually, I was the best student in all of the subjects, and everything should come out like A, S. All of them, they are A's, and that is it was an inspiration for me to become the best student. And there were books, actually. I used it to read a lot of books, like teaching myself, and one of them was becoming a master student. There were books about that, becoming a master student, and it helped me a lot. Along with that, actually, when I was in second year, there was a teacher. He was an Indian teacher, and then one day I asked him about programming, like the course that he was teaching us. And then that teacher, he told me, I don't know. And this was the second inspiration for me to teach myself. If the teacher told me I don't know, then who is going to tell me about that?
Right.
No. So the only one who could tell me what it is me, myself. I have to tell myself this is wrong and this is right. Like basically, I have to teach myself everything. The teacher tells me like I don't know. It is
Mm-hmm.
like this is second inspiration for me. If someone told you I don't know, then it's an inspiration for you that you have to do it yourself.
Right. So you and was this in university or in
Yeah,
secondary school?
university. Yeah, in the university when I was the second year, like I decided to teach myself because the thing is the university is not equipped with all the materials. We don't have enough stuff. So the
Right.
only thing that you should do is if the teacher helps you, that's fine. But if the teacher couldn't help you for some reason, like basically you don't know that stuff, then the only thing is you have to figure out how to know that.
So you got to teach yourself pretty much all the programming that
All the
you
programming,
learned.
all the programming. And at that time, actually, I don't have the resources. I don't have a laptop. So the only
S-
thing that I could do is I have to go to the secondary school that I studied actually, and then I asked the library to give me the chance to use their computer. And that computer at that time was this was in 2007, and it was the computer was Pentium 2 processor, and then the operating system was Windows 2000.
Right. So you're
The
talking about a
reason,
processor that's 10
yeah,
years old.
it's 10 years old, yeah. So, but for me, that's a great thing because that is the only thing that I could have.
Right.
So with this limited resource, actually, I did all the job and I teach myself Java programming, and it took me years actually. And by the end of graduation, actually, by the end of 2011, I could write a software for financial management software for the government, financial management software for the government, and everything goes localized with our local language. And for this one, I got awarded by the National Holidays Coordination Committee during there is a national festival that's held every year actually. And on that actually, I presented my product. Then I was awarded for this one. And later on in 2014, I upgraded this software to version 2 using NetBeans platform, like the core was NetBeans platform. I developed all the stuff on top of that using all the modern technologies of Java. Java is 7, and all the like we know all the stuff over there using web services, everything on that. Being there and having no resources at all. Like I have to teach myself still even after graduation. And the only money that I, like you could ask me how did you get the money to teach yourself because and I couldn't do anything. The only thing like if I get any money even a cent, then I have to like pay it for internet to teach myself. And there is one thing that I shouldn't forget on this one. My parents do like it was everything that I have today, like I want to do it to my parents. Actually, they did a great job, and they did a lot of stuff. Actually, there is a question actually, like you can ask me later about this one, and we can deal on that.
Yeah, that's great. So you touched on a lot of different things. So um I think their background's very interesting with what you had happen. One of the things I want to really focus on is it's really easy for us to as humans to go, okay, I need this before I can do that, right? So I need a really fast computer before I can learn how to program. Um, or I need a really good mentor or teacher before I can learn how to learn programming. And I think that you just taught us like that's not necessarily so. If you have to make things happen and you have enough, you have enough desire and will, you can teach yourself, right? You went to the library on a 10-year-old computer and taught yourself how to code. I think that's really inspiring. And so I want people out there to like realize like you can get $100 or $200 laptop and learn how to code right now if this is like if you want to do that. Um, have you seen other people that got caught up in that mindset of oh I need this and didn't pursue programming.
Like that is a human nature. Every person is like that. They need something to be set up first before they do that. They do some, so like, for example, before starting to write programming, people want to have everything, and that's perfectly natural. And the thing is, because we feel that having that will enable us, having, for example, the best computer will enable you to become the best person. But what I would say is, you have yourself. You have yourself. You can be the mentor of yourself because you know yourself very well. You can be the only thing is, know your circumstances. No one could know your circumstances better than yourself. You know which time to study, which time is good for studying. For yourself, customize things to yourself. Like, customize yourself by yourself for yourself. It's all by yourself. Like, it is your life, and you know yourself very well. So, like, use the resources that you have, and then, like, customize it to yourself.
Right. So
And
just get started.
that's all you need. Because, for example, if I give you the best book in the world, for example, will that book make you the best person? No. If you try to read it in a wrong timing, for example, I gave you all the resources, but I dictate the timing that you will use, for example. If I tell you, for example, you will only use this resource between 4 to 6 p.m. And between 4 to 6 p.m., for example, you are not active on that day. Or every day, you are not active in these hours, for example, and that is only for you. Will you be performant? No. So life is all about that. It's not about the resources. It is about you, how you interact with these resources, how you use these resources to the best way that you can. So for me, for example, I use it always. I always used to study late nights after 10 when everybody was asleep. Like, after from 10 to 4 a.m. in the morning, I'm always reading some stuff. I'm always doing all the job. I was always actually doing all the stuff by myself during these hours. And then during the day, like everybody else. Like, I have to do the extra stuff to become the extra person or the best person. This was
Right.
my motto on that time, actually.
Right. And so I think it's like, if you can find a mentor, if you can find a good teacher, that's great. But if and even if you do, if you don't if you don't apply things to yourself and customize whatever information you're getting, it might not work for you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of understanding from your experience. So I want you to talk. You just mentioned something. I want to talk about. You didn't have very much, but you did have, I guess, the privilege you had, or the what you were given, was you had supportive parents. And so I'd like to talk about how your mom supported you, and got you to want to be a developer.
Uh, Actually, I would say this one in a very short example. One day, actually, I was programming. I was like writing program, and my mother was asleep, and it was like 1 a.m. late. So she wake up and she sees me like writing programming, and then she was as a mother, actually, she wants me to sleep and to rest, like all the good stuff. She wants to see the good, like at the right time. She don't want me to stay late night, by thinking that as a mother she wants me, like, if I was sleeping actually at the time, she would feel like my son is slept, like, as a mother she would say that she don't want me to work hard. But at the same time she wants me to be the best person. Then she said, "Why don't you sleep? Please, son, go ahead and sleep." Then I told her, "Do you want?" I asked her, actually, "Do you want me the best son, the best person?" Then she said, "Yes." Then I told her, "So if I don't do the extra stuff better than my friends, how could I be the best person? So if I am gonna be the best person, then I have to do the extra stuff. Where others should, like, others, they don't want to wake up late night and doing the programming. They don't want that. And they will not become as successful as me, because they didn't do the stuff that they don't want. So
Right.
to become the best person, you have to do the things that others don't want to do. For example, staying late night. No one wants to stay late night. Like both of us, all the students actually, we go to school during the day. but no one wants to stay late night. No one wants to abandon watching movies. No one wants that. Hanging out with friends, having parties, having all this one. No one wants to abandon this stuff. But to become the best person, don't do this. Don't they like to become the best person, do the things where others don't want to do this. So my reply to my mother was, do you want me be the best person? Yes, she said. Then I told her, then I have to do the extra stuff where my friends don't want to do them. So actually, that was after this one, my mother always she have to prepare. It's all cheap stuff, but that was it do had a lot of love in it. Always she have to prepare a teapot for me, and then like that is the thing that she could do. And then she used it to like it was a habit actually. She used it to put on some clothes on top of my back, and then that was a very thing for me. The love that she gave me was the best. Every day she used it to come and then do that stuff. Like I was like it was a habit for me even to wait to her to do that for me. It was something like the love that she used it to share was like the biggest thing. And actually, parents they did one thing for me that is a lifetime gift for me. We had a land, and like it wasn't built like it was supposed to be built into a house, but we don't have the enough resources to build that. So there was inflation in 2008, worldwide inflation, and in our country it was the worst time ever. So everybody was like, if you are poor and then some inflation comes, you are the first one to get attacked. So the resources get depleted. So the only thing that we had was that. So they sell that land to send me to school, to continue to school, to continue to learn. Imagine having like in my country, having a house is a privilege. It's a big deal. It's a lifetime achievement. So for my parents, they abandoned their lifetime achievement just to make me become an engineer, to make me become this person that I am that I am today. And
Yeah.
because if they hadn't do this actually, if they didn't do this, probably I might have done some other stuff today, which is way much cheaper than what I'm doing today.
Right. You wouldn't be making as much money as you are today. I imagine you're making much more money than your parents could because of where you've been able to go and what they've sacrificed for you.
Yeah, the thing basically is my father and my mother like they want to have kids who are educated enough because they didn't go to school. They want us to be like scholars. They want us to be like doctors, professors, and the like. So hopefully I will make them proud of me. One day
Yeah.
I will like I'm planning to go to school actually to make I'm doing my masters now, and hopefully after this one I'm planning to do my PhD even just to make my part like first to become like to know everything on that stuff, and second one just to fulfill my parents' dreams. Like if I could have the second life, actually I could have done this for them.
That's amazing. I'm really touched by the love that your family gave you and how much they wanted for you.
Yeah.
Um, and I want to go back to as well because you told me a story when we were talking a couple weeks ago when we first met about one of your teachers who kind of inspired you to rise above where you were at, right? You were you know what I'm talking. You remember what I'm talking about? When you said he said you said one of your teachers inspired you to become a really good developer. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, his name was like Dr. Takie. He's now in Netherlands. I don't remember the university name exactly, but it's in Netherlands. He is now a lecturer there in the university. Dr. Takie, like he lectured me algebra during second year, and I was doing the best in his algebra class. Like I scored 99 out of 100 probably. So like it was the best thing for me, like his way of teaching the course. He's an expert in that field actually, and he have written some books on I think so. So every day actually he used to wait me at the like outside the class, and then we used to work together. Then he told me, do you know why I wait you outside? Then I said, can you tell me, please? Then he told me, you know, you will be way better than what you are here. Even much better than what I'm doing as being a doctor. You will do some big stuff. Imagine a doctor and you are a student telling you you will be this. Then I asked him why. Then he said, "No, I can see it. Actually, later on after graduation, he sees me developing softwares, and he one day he called me and we had a dinner together. He invited me for a dinner, and we had a very good dinner together. And he told me, "Do you remember telling you this? Telling you you will be a person of this kind?" Then I told him, "Yes, I do, but how is that possible? How do you judge people with this?" Then he said, like, if you do this stuff today and then tomorrow, obviously you can see a person if he's doing something today which is very much different from others, then definitely tomorrow he will be somewhere. Today actually we have a connection with him. We are on Facebook friends. We chat together, and he is very much humble. One of his students doing a great job. Like that's a big achievement for me, and for him actually the inspiration that he used to give me was like at that time actually we don't had doctors, Eritrean doctors like having PhDs. It wasn't easy, and that person giving you moral like you will be much better than I am doing today. Like it looks like easy stuff, but at that time it wasn't, because all the resources are very little, very constrained. And how could you have the dream? It's all about having things imagining in your mind. How could you have them? How could you, for example, someone could say you will be the best person. That is a hope. Actually, you will say it's a hope, but how will you realize that? How will you interpret it in your mind, like, and then act accordingly to become the best person ever, or the best person that you could imagine you become?
That's
So
awesome.
when he was telling me you will be the best person, even better than me, and he's a doctor, it was a homework for me. He was telling me, create yourself to become better than me. It was a homework. It was an exercise given to me. And I interpreted it that way actually. He is telling me to become better than him because the resources now are better than the resources that he had in his time. Actually, I will thank everything for this one. Like if I hadn't had such doctors or such lecturers, probably I might figure out by my own, but it might be something else. And definitely it won't be like this. It will be like much lesser than what I'm doing today. It was a great input actually.
Right. So it sounds like between the support that you got from your parents and um, from this lecture, that you changed your mindset, that your mind was changed, and you aspired to something greater. Like you saw, did you think out like 5 or 10 years and go, did you visualize that you could be in America, in 5 or 10 years? Is that what went on in your mind? Because you worked, because it's hard for, I'll admit, it's hard for me to work hard. I procrastinate sometimes, right? I procrastinate a lot, actually. I want to watch, I want to do things easily, but it sounds like you were able to get past that. You said, I'm not going to go hang out with my friends all the time. I'm not going to um, watch movies all the time. I'm going to work hard so I can see this in the future. Can you talk a little bit about that?
This was exactly what was in my mind. Like I used to imagine myself like I want to be forever here in this country. This was my idea when I was there. Like being in the poorest country in the world, how could I do this? How could I hang out with friends? How could I have parties? How could I have the little stuff? I like that is way less for me to live in this world with that, with all the resources that I have in myself, not the extra stuff or things outside myself, all the resources that is there within me, like like the things that is there in the country is not enough for me. So I have to like I used to imagine myself one day I will be like in US or somewhere else in the developed countries, and I have to be prepared for that. I have to prepare myself to become competent being there. This was my like I was building up myself for for the future for some time in the future, and that was like a hard work. Like I used to work hard, and this was like this motive was behind me, like pushing me to work hard, to do all the extra stuff, to stay late night, to do everything, like to see the future and preparing yourself for that future.
Right. So whenever you're like, oh man, I can't do this, did you hold on to that idea, that dream?
Even so, like I couldn't have that. If I had for some reason, then definitely why you are doing this. It was like I used to talk to myself every day on a walk. There was 1 hour, like 40 to 1 hour minutes walk, and then always talking to myself. Are you in line? Like it was a conversation with myself. Are you in line to this? Are you doing the right stuff that makes you be the person that you are dreaming to become?
Oh, that's so good. So you're saying, because I've heard this before, because I listen to a lot of productivity books and self development books. So you're saying that you were assessing every day and thinking, "A- are the actions I'm taking today leading to this future me?" So you
That
were you reassessing? Go, oh, I'm not focusing on the right things, or I need to be reading this book, or I need to be programming this. Is that kind of what you're
I
doing?
didn't read I didn't read books, but definitely if you have like a goal in your mind, like to become better than the doctor, to become the person ready, like like preparing yourself to live in America, being the best person, for example, like working as a software engineer. You can be
Mm-hmm.
any come into like for some reason you can come to US and live here, but will you pursue your dreams even after coming to America? So if you had that dream, then you have to create it while you are like exactly right then. And every day you have to assess yourself because it's obvious. Like if the pathway is like 1,000 kilometers away of you and you are not seeing that, there is some folks that like you can see that for some reason. Then every walk must be checked and like you have to see your compass whether you are in the right direction or not. And that's
That's
the
great.
you don't need any you don't need to read a book. You don't need like you are sailing on the sea. If you don't check your compass, you won't reach your destination that you dream. It's like that. It's life like that actually. So for me, it was the dreams that I had in my mind, inspired from different resources actually. But the goal is to create myself to become the better version of myself.
So how so I love what you just said, but how do you know that you're going on the right path? Because sometimes it's hard to know, like sometimes it's hard to know that you're even going down. How did you check your compass? How did you know that you were still going on the right path?
And for example, if you are going to be a programmer, for example, your dream is to become a programmer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you write the program that you dream? Can you, like, for example, in 1 month, you are reading a book and you are developing something. You have the mission, like the goal, the milestone for that month is to develop this. Can you do that? Are you day to day? If you check your day to day progress, is it leading you to write to develop that web page, for example? Can you by the end of the month? Can you do that? If you can't do that, then you are procrastinating. You are not doing the right stuff. Like
Right.
if you don't reach your milestone, then you are not achieving as you should. So every day you have the short term goals, and then these short term goals, if they are not like leading you to the goal that you are dreaming, like for example, when I was writing software, like it took me 4 years, for example, to teach myself to develop the financial government, the financial management software. The software was built in 8 months, all A to Z by myself, from designing to finalizing it, implementing it, and maintaining it. But before that, after the end of each chapter in the book, can I do it without checking any book, without checking anything? Can I do it from my mind? If I can do that, then that chapter is over and I know all the stuff in that. And then later on, I should take a project and then design that project and implement it. If I can do that, then it's over. I am in line. Then every day, like life will teach you some sort of things to figure out things immediately. And most of the time, if you talk to yourself, then like you know yourself better, what you are doing. If you can't do something, then definitely you yourself know that, and you will not do it in your system. You can't develop it. You don't have it. You cannot pretend that you are having that.
Right. Because that's something that's so easy to do. It's so easy to go, oh, I know the technical terms, I know the technical things, but I can't actually put it into my program and develop it. It's easy to fool ourselves into competency when we actually don't have it.
If you feel that you cannot do that, then check yourself.
So
Tell
you
you
got to check
don't tell you,
yourself.
yeah, don't tell yourself. You cannot fool yourself. You know it. If you have your laptop and then if someone asks you to do that, if you cannot do it yourself alone, you cannot do it even like like in every month. If you don't develop yourself to do the stuff by yourself, then you cannot have the big stuff. You cannot develop it even later. After a year, even if people give you 1,000 years, you cannot develop it. So on day to day, you have to check your progress and see that if you can do the right stuff, or at least the stuff that you planned. Then if you can do it, then the next month you will have a better plan, the next version of your plan. And then finally, actually, you will be able to develop things, and definitely you will attract opportunities.
Right.
For me, for example, how could I, from all the students, bring the opportunity, like how that opportunity comes to my hand to write a software for the government? But
You
the
have to
thing
be
is, I
yeah,
can,
so you have to prepare yourself to have
yeah, once you
those
prepare
opportunities.
yourself, yeah, you will definitely see that opportunity. Oh, I can do this stuff. Because you prepare yourself to that level, then you will immediately see that I can do this.
So you said, so another side thing that you mentioned to me before is that you created the first software that was localized in your native language, right?
Yeah,
So that must have been pretty, was that a pretty cool feeling? Like that must have felt really you must have felt really like proud to have been able to have that, or humbled to be able to have that opportunity.
definitely. Actually, I write that software, and prior to that, actually, no one have developed a software like that big alone, and even localize it with that language. So it was something great. Like you don't there was no software developed before you, and then you develop it, and then people is using that very simply. It's like I couldn't imagine myself doing that if I didn't like. It was something great, starting with zero and developing, reaching into this stage, like, and I don't know. Actually, I cannot express them in words. The feeling that I had at that time.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
Actually,
It's really
for this one, in 2014, I got awarded after developing the software, the second version of the software. I got awarded from the president of the state for developing or contributing to the local language, developing software with the local language. The president awarded me for this. Although the award is not a big deal, because he's a dictator. For a dictator to give something is like dictator wants like people to obey him. He don't want to give away things. So getting something from the president is a big deal. But for
that's
me,
awesome.
like getting awarded from the president was like a two-way success, or like one stone like with one stone hitting two birds. One was fulfilling my father's dream, and second was getting reward from the president, get from a dictator basically. The dictator willing to give you something. Like if you make the dictator to give you something, that's a big achievement. And the second was, sorry, my father had a dream like his cousin was awarded from the king of Ethiopia during his time. And my father, like he was like jealous, like positive jealous. He was jealous, like like if I had gone to school, I could have been awarded. My father had that feeling. So at one point, he bring a photograph of that his cousin getting awarded from the king. Then he gave me one day. He gave me that photo. I was a kid, and I used to imagine myself putting myself into his cousins, like getting awarded from the king. Like I used to imagine that. That imagination actually my father puts into me through that photograph. That was like something big for me. I have to make my father proud of this. My father should see me getting reward from the president. So one day actually, after getting awarded from the president, I bring both the photographs into my father and I showed him. He wept actually. Well, like he was extremely happy. He had the dream to get awarded by himself after seeing his cousin getting awarded. But now he's seen his son getting awarded from the president of the state. Like for him, the feeling was, I don't know, father. When I become a father, I will know it. But for a father, it's a big deal. Your son, like, you had a dream, but your son fulfills the dream. And that's a big achievement.
Wow. Um, there's so much there. I just it sounds like you're just going back to your imagination and your mindset is really what pushed you to achieve these things. I think that's something that we can definitely tap into more. I know I personally can tap into that to help me achieve my goals as well. So, um, man, so what we've only got a few more minutes left, but I wanted to go over some of these productivity questions as well. So what did it feel like when you how did you know you were being productive? It sounded like if you hit your milestone, if you were when you assess yourself every day and you're going towards your milestone, is that how you knew you were being productive for the day?
Yeah, daily actually there is a goal for you. Like daily, you know yourself. The most important thing for me is myself. Like read your mind. You know your mind. You cannot fool your mind. You cannot hide anything from your mind. The mind knows itself very well. That's the best thing about human beings.
Hmm.
We have the mind, and we know that we can assess like our mind. We know how our mind is performing. We know exactly what we are doing. So like, there might be people actually who cannot do this one actually, but they have to train their mind to assess, like to look into the mind looking into itself. So daily, if you had the habit of checking your mind and the progress your mind is moving, then even there will not be any way that, like every day you know your goals, you know your stuff, you know your productivity. That's it. There is no room for negative stuff to develop in your mind, because there is a daily. If you are like if you sweep your room every day, there will not be room for dust. And the same is for the mind. If like every day you are sweeping, it's agile method of developing the mind.
That's awesome. I love it. So what's your favorite productivity tool? Like either a tool that helps you like track your time or a tool like an IDE. What's your favorite tool to use?
Actually, I love Java. I can say. Probably it might be because it is the language that I teach myself. Probably that might be the. But right now I know that I have to develop into many stuff, and I'm doing that. And I want to learn a lot. But the thing is, I always look into something that helps me become the next. Then like helps me achieve the thing that I have or that I want to have. So the tools in programming, they're like Eclipse, NetBeans, and IntelliJ. All of them, I learned them. I like Eclipse. Actually, I love it because I discovered all the stuff in it. I developed all the things in VS Code right now. Actually, I could use like I like all this stuff.
That's awesome. So, what's your favorite productivity technique? Like, how do you keep yourself motivated? Like, let's talk about your motivation. What's your favorite technique to keep yourself motivated every day?
Actually, I always read something, and basically mathematics and physics. I like this stuff, these things. I always want to do some mathematics stuff. Just that keeps my mind active. My mind like if I do this, whenever I do some mathematics stuff, then I become very active. It's not normal mathematics actually, advanced calculus. I like it and I want to do that. And then use it, like reading physics books. I always actually after every paycheck, I had the habit of buying a book. Every paycheck, every 2 weeks, I buy one book. I have to buy one book. Then I have to read that book before the next paycheck actually. This way, I always update myself to something that I want or that I want to know.
That's awesome. I love that little hack. That's really cool. Um, when what what mindset or time of day makes you the most productive?
Actually, I'm most of the time I'm active late nights. Most of the time, after 10 p.m. Actually, I can do like double stuff more than I do throughout the other times. Actually, and when I'm alone, it doesn't mean I can do like when even if there is a crowd, even there is a party going on, I could bring in my laptop and develop here. I don't have any like if I'm into something, I can be there. I don't feel the interruption that others have, but being alone gives you a lot of room to focus into your mind and your stuff more easily. Like reducing interruption is a better way of imagining something. We can understand this. Like for example, if you have the habit of like closing your eyes for 1 hour and then imagining something deep into your mind, definitely the interaction that you have with your mind will not be there. Like our eyes, there is a lot of interaction every minute. So you can check that. There is like everybody knows that actually every minute there is interruption through our eyes. So if you close your eye, and then focus for something like for 1 hour, for example, definitely you will be into something that you are doing that you are focusing because
Right.
you are reducing the interruptions. So probably I always say like why I'm active after 10. I try to like there is little interruption after.
Right.
There is little sound, there is little. So if there is little interruption, then you become more active. Like for me actually that works better.
That's awesome. So, what's the best advice you've ever received on how to be more productive?
Like most of the time actually there is people always advises you to do more, to achieve more, to be like the best advice for me was like to become myself and create the next version of myself. Like I'm here today and become the next better version of myself every day. Every day I should be a next version 1, version 2, version 3 of myself, and there is no limit for that version until the last day that you are in this globe. Like update your version. That is the best advice that I have in life.
You got to update your version. I love that. I love that. I think we'll leave it with that. So, what's the best way that people can follow you, Salahadin?
Actually, you can share my LinkedIn into this one. They can reach me with that, and after that, they can reach me anytime. They can text me and be connected in LinkedIn, and we can talk professionally. They can reach me anytime, and I will share my phone number and the stuff on there. And then actually, I'm a normal guy and a humble guy and happy to reach out with people, to chat with people, to share my ideas openly. And more than all, I want to learn from people, getting around with people and learn from people.
Well,
Learning has no limits.
yeah, I've learned a lot from you today, and I thank you so much for coming on, and I can't wait to see where you go and as you keep on upgrading what you become, Saladin. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you for the opportunity that you gave me. It is definitely this is an inspiration. Definitely one day this will be part of my history. I'm 100% certain on that.
Awesome. Well, thanks, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Taylor.